Hey everyone, welcome back to MangaMinute. I'm thrilled to share my latest recap video with you. If you missed the previous one, no worries, just take a quick peek in the description below for the link. Now, let's dive right in and enjoy.
Outside the bandit den, Li Riang stood silently, gripping his wooden staff as his gaze remained fixed on the distant stronghold nestled within the mountains. His heart was heavy with concern as he whispered a prayer for Eunho, his thoughts laced with worry. He prayed for restraint against the overwhelming power that Eunho wielded, hoping that no lives would be lost in the coming conflict. His murmured words, filled with desperate hope, sought protection for everyone involved, bandits and strangers alike. He invoked Amitabha, pleading for safety and peace, despite the storm he feared was about to break. But his plea was cut short. Without warning, a thunderous explosion echoed from within the bandit den, shaking the very ground beneath his feet. The sudden eruption of chaos sent a chill through him. Staring at the scene in disbelief, Li Riang's heart sank. His prayer, so fervent and sincere, had gone unheard. Despair filled his mind as he realized the inevitable destruction that had unfolded. In an instant, his worry turned to anger. Cursing under his breath, he rushed toward the den, his frustration boiling over. He knew the cause all too well: Eunho's untamed power, a force that showed little mercy or restraint. Gritting his teeth, he swore in frustration. The image of destruction seared into his mind as he raced to the scene. The monster within Eunho, so bewildering and ruthless, had once again unleashed its might, and Li Riang could only hope that lives had not been claimed in its wake. Eunho stood amidst the scattered and defeated bandits, his gaze sharp and unimpressed. His opponent, who had seemed so confident in his meddling, now lay crumpled before him, his strength proven to be nothing more than a fleeting illusion. Eunho's mind was filled with disdain as he glanced at the fallen leader, Li Zheguang, who had proved to be far less formidable than anticipated. The brief skirmish had hardly been a challenge, and with a voice laced with mockery, Eunho dismissed the struggle as pathetic. For Li Zheguang, however, the defeat was incomprehensible. His thoughts raced, unable to reconcile the overwhelming power he had just witnessed. How could someone like Eunho, who bore no connection to the martial world of Murim, possess such strength? His mind whirled in disbelief, questioning whether all the young lords of Murim were as formidable as the one standing before him. Yet deep down he knew this couldn't be the case. What he had encountered was beyond the norm, something that defied his understanding of martial prowess. As Eunho finished dealing with the bandits, he murmured to himself, a calculating gleam in his eyes. His next steps were already forming in his mind, plans to begin collecting money in earnest. The bandits, now defeated, would no longer be an obstacle, and his ambitions were growing. Nearby, Li Riang rushed onto the scene, his heart sinking at the sight of the ruined bandit den. The devastation was more than he had anticipated, and a cry of disbelief escaped him as he took in the destruction. It was clear that Eunho's confrontation had left no part of the den untouched. Yet, as Li Riang's panic rose, Eunho's calm voice cut through the chaos. He reassured him that, despite appearances, no one had perished. The bandits were merely unconscious, their lives spared, though their fates would not be kind. With an irritated tone, Eunho added that once they awoke, the less injured among them would still suffer as they dealt with their more grievously wounded comrades. His words were sharp, leaving no doubt about the lingering consequences of the battle. Relief washed over Li Riang as he realized that no lives had been lost. With a sigh, he expressed his gratitude, praising Eunho for his mercy despite the overwhelming power he had unleashed. His faith in his senior brother's restraint had not been misplaced, and for a moment, Li Riang felt reassured. But Eunho, ever teasing, couldn't resist a remark. With a playful tone, he questioned Li Riang's earlier reaction, hinting that he had overheard curses thrown his way during the heat of the battle. Li Riang could only smile sheepishly in response, caught between his relief and the light-hearted teasing of his senior brother. Having searched the entire den for any sign of treasure, Eunho stood among the scattered debris, his expression one of mild disappointment. He glanced at Li Riang, who was rifling through the few possessions left behind by the bandits. Li Riang's frustration was evident as he found nothing of value, and he shook his head, bewildered at the complete lack of wealth. The situation was almost laughable. Even beggars in the streets had more to their name than these mountain thieves. Eunho, however, wasn't surprised. His observation was cold and matter-of-fact. These bandits spent whatever they had on immediate pleasures, squandering their earnings on food and drink with no thought for saving. They possessed nothing of worth, no furniture, no utensils, not even clothes purchased with any semblance of care. The entire den reeked of poverty and reckless living, a far cry from the treasure trove they had hoped to find. Li Riang, disheartened by the fruitless search, suggested they leave. It seemed a waste of time to continue rummaging through the ruins when there was clearly nothing of value left to uncover. But Eunho wasn't ready to give up just yet. His keen eyes scanned the area with renewed focus, something tugging at the back of his mind. He had a feeling, an instinct that there was more to this place than met the eye. His gaze settled on a particular section of the stone floor, and without a word, he stepped forward, his attention locked on it. Li Riang watched, confused by his senior brother's sudden interest in the ground beneath their feet. What could possibly be hidden here, in such a desolate and impoverished den? But Eunho was certain. He could sense that something lay beneath the surface. Without hesitation, Eunho struck the stone floor with swift force, smashing it apart with ease. The sound of breaking stone echoed through the hollow den, the cracked surface revealing what had been hidden beneath. As the dust settled from the shattered stone floor, Li Riang's eyes widened in disbelief as he caught sight of the hidden chest revealed beneath. Curiosity sparked. He turned to Eunho, astonished at his brother's instincts. How had Eunho known there was anything concealed beneath the surface? The question lingered in the air, but Eunho's response only deepened the mystery. He spoke of sensing an energy, a notion that struck Li Riang as implausible given the talisman affixed to the chest, designed specifically to block any such presence. Eunho lifted the chest, his brows furrowing in curiosity at its unexpected lightness. The weight felt almost deceptive, hinting at something of great value contained within. Li Riang, his mind racing, struggled to reconcile Eunho's ability to detect the energy with the talisman's blocking effects. How had he managed to sense what was meant to be concealed? Ignoring the confusion swirling in Li Riang's mind, Eunho tore away the talisman and pried open the wooden chest. As the lid creaked open, a golden pill nestled inside came into view, glowing softly and radiating a potent energy that filled the air with a palpable vitality. The aroma wafted towards Li Riang, and he inhaled deeply, feeling invigorated by its essence. The golden pill seemed to pulse with a refreshing energy that promised relief from the fatigue of their arduous journey up the mountain. Overcome with excitement, he reached out, eager to examine the remarkable find up close. However, before he could grasp the pill, Eunho swiftly maneuvered the chest away, ensuring that it remained out of Li Riang's reach. The playful yet cautious gesture hinted at a deeper awareness of the pill's potential and the need for careful handling. As they descended the mountain, Li Riang's frustration bubbled to the surface. He expressed his annoyance over Eunho's hasty actions regarding the golden pill, a rare treasure he had hoped to savor with his own eyes. The idea of gulping it down in a rush had never crossed his mind. He had merely wanted to appreciate its beauty before any meddling could occur. Eunho, however, remained unfazed. He reminded Li Riang of the pill's significance as the toll fees extorted from Chanhajang, asserting the need to protect it from anyone who might carelessly interfere. His tone was stern as he recounted how close Li Riang had come to losing his wrist, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. Shifting his focus, Li Riang brought up their next challenge, catching up with the procession. He calculated the time they would need, realizing that even with a swift pace, it would be nearly impossible to reach them before sunset, let alone by the following morning. In contrast, Eunho radiated confidence, asserting that they could close the distance in just half an hour. The claim caught Li Riang off guard, disbelief evident on his face. He couldn't fathom how such a feat was achievable given their current circumstances. Eunho, seeing Li Riang's skepticism, scolded him lightly, implying that their delay had been unnecessary and that his own speed had been hindered by his companion. With a sudden motion, Eunho scooped up Li Riang effortlessly, cradling him in his arms. The gesture was both practical and a subtle display of his strength, indicating that they were now ready to make haste toward their destination. As confusion swept over Li Riang, he struggled to comprehend Eunho's sudden actions. In response to his bewilderment, Eunho issued a firm command, warning him to stay still if he didn't want to be tossed around like a piece of firewood. Focusing his chi, Eunho prepared himself for an audacious leap, channeling his energy into his feet. With a burst of incredible speed, he leaped into the air, taking Li Riang along for the ride. The world below them blurred as they soared, leaving Li Riang in a state of panic. His heart raced as he realized they were heading toward a cliff's edge. Eunho, with a confident smirk, seemed unfazed by the danger, intent on crossing to the opposite ridge. The beauty of the starry sky, with shimmering starlight peeking through gaps in the clouds, captivated him, heightening his adventurous spirit. Meanwhile, Li Riang's fear mounted as he pleaded for a more cautious approach, urging Eunho to take the easier path instead. Suspended in midair, his anxiety only deepened as he struggled to grasp the thrill that Eunho found in the moment. To him, the prospect of flying over the cliff was not an exhilarating adventure but a reckless gamble with fate.